I don't even have a Patreon. So, just gonna do another episode for everybody. I used to think
if I
if
couldn't find hope,
fucking
I should just let it all go. I
find
used to
hope,
think if I
I
couldn't
should just
make
let
dreams
it
come
all
true, I should just
go.
let them all
I used to
go.
think
When life seems impossible, look from a new angle, change just one little bit. When life feels intolerable, find your true source of love. Concentrate, focus on love. Center my focus dedicate, focus on
Concentrate, focus on love.
focus on focus.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Here we go. This is episode 13. Quarantine part 2. Part 2. Part 2. Part 2. Part 2 sticks, maybe? Is that the Roman numeral for 2? Just 2 sticks? Probably. Still here. Still in quarantine. It's crazy to see how much beer people buy during a time like this. And I understand it. I've been good up until tonight as far as like drinking to cope. I've been playing video games, which has been weird because I haven't played video games in like a decade. But when we switched the brewery to just off sales, people just kept coming in, kept getting beer. And I heard somebody mention that the liquor store a few blocks away was out of beer. They sell like hard bar and stuff like that, but they were just out of beer. And I don't know if that's funny or sad. That's what we all gravitate to in a time like this. And I don't know even if it is sad, if it should be sad. Like, is there a problem with having a drink to deal with life? Is that bad? Who says what state we're supposed to live in? You know? I think that's been my struggle with marijuana is I don't think that you should live your life stoned or high or in a state of altered reality. But who the hell am I to decide what reality we live in? Who is anybody? You know, that's the thing is your reality is just that. It's your reality. And nobody else is living in your reality because every other person is living in their own reality. And when you look at the animal kingdom and you look at insects and you look at other living things, they are all living in vastly different realities. Like down to just visually. Like we only see a certain extent of the light spectrum. And what we see is so different than what many other living things see. And I'm sure what we hear, and I'm sure just our entire reality is different than many other living things. And then it's like, well, fuck. Why don't I just live in the reality that makes me the happiest? And I'm not saying that one where I'm smoking weed regularly is that reality, but the anxiety or the guilt maybe that I feel I need to get over because just fucking I need to live my life. If that's what I want to do, then own it. Yeah. That's what I want to do right now. I think previous relationships maybe or previous encounters in life have forged that where it's like, no, that's wrong. You have to live the way I was living, or this is the way to do it, and that's wrong. If you're happy and you're not hurting anybody, and you're still a good person, do whatever you want. Do crack. Big advocate for crack if you're going to do it and be a good person and not harm anybody. Especially in times like this, it's still the apocalypse, you know? Quarantine part 2. There's no rules. I don't think there's any rules. Johnny Bones Jones got... News came out, driving under the influence. I don't know what else. Probably dumb shit, but he shouldn't be charged. There's no rules right now. If you want to loot up. If you want to do whatever you want. Because who knows? You could get corona tomorrow. And I don't want you to get corona tomorrow and be like, man, I should have lived. I didn't live. That's the only reason you're here. It's the only reason you're listening to this. That's the only reason you're experiencing anything and going to work and talking to people is to live, because you have a life, because you're existing, you're living. And so moment to moment, day to day, month to month, just do what, just live. Because there's no guarantee that there won't be a worse virus next year. Might break into this Hershey's cookies and cream soon. Here's a little bit into my head. And, you know, the way I do this podcast is I go through my days, I go through my weeks, I live my life, and at times I'll go, oh, that's a thing that I would like to share. That's a thing I would like to talk about, or that's a thing I would like to delve deeper into in this environment and see what happens and see what people think, or at least allow people to hear it and think for themselves. And what I do is I've got Google Docs on my phone, on my home screen. I just click it and I'll write a sentence, or I'll write a couple sentences based on what I was thinking or what just happened. And then I sit here in my studio, the stew, the Dio, and I bring up Google Docs on the laptop HDMI cable to the television. And then I'll bring up the Google document on the television, you know, the big screen, the fucking, and then the laptop down below just has Audacity, the recording software running. And so I'll look up on the television there, and I'll just scroll through and be like, oh yeah, that topic, blah, 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 blah. And one I wrote down here was about a situation that I found myself in a couple weeks ago now. And I was going to change the example, I guess, that I was going to give, to not make the situation so obvious, because the person that this situation happened with listens. But I think that there's no reason to do that. And I'm also not in the mind space to change things on the fly. So if I'm in a social situation and I don't know something and I ask somebody a question, like, and this is the example that I wrote down, who was Columbus's goalie to start the year? The Blue Jackets. Who was their goalie to start the year? If I ask a question like that, and that could be anything. If I'm in a social situation, I'm like, who's the fucking president of Japan? The supreme leader? Who's the fucking president of Mexico? And then I remember it a couple seconds after. Because it was like, I was trying to think of it because I know I should know. And I'm like, fuck, I can't remember it. And so I ask, Who was Columbus's goalie to start the year? But I remember it. I don't want to seem like I set myself up to know something that the other person doesn't know. Does that make sense? Let me recap that somehow. So, if I'm in a situation and I ask somebody a question, like who was Columbus's goalie to start the year? As soon as I ask it, I remember and I'm like, oh, fuck, it was... Now I can't remember. Corpusala. And I'm like, oh, in my head, I was like, oh, it was Corpusala. But I've already asked a question. I don't want to jump in there and be like, oh, it was Corpusala, especially if they're still thinking about it. And then it's like, I've set myself up to look better than them. So what I'll do at that point is I'll pretend like I don't know. And I'll see if they get there. And so I'll let them think about it. And in my head, I'm like, oh, fuck. I know. I can't believe I brain farted like that. And then they'll go, and if it takes them longer than a minute or so, I'll give a hint. And the way I'll give the hint is I'll be like, oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It starts with a K, I think. Even though in my head I'm like, it's fucking Corpusalo. And then I'll give them another minute or two. And if they still don't get it, then I'll finally answer my own question. And what could have been like a 5-second thing, this weird anxiety made me turn it into a 5-minute ordeal. Is that normal? Is that a thing that happens? Is that how you live your life? Like, I have that happen once a week. I'll be talking with somebody and I'm like, do you remember talking the color of shirt that I wore? And they'll be like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, fuck, it was a red shirt. And I'll be like, it definitely wasn't blue or green. They'll be like, no, I don't remember. And I'm like, yeah, no, me neither. Then a couple minutes go by, I'm like, it was red, I think. It's probably, maybe. Do you think it was red? I'm like, oh yeah, it was red. I'm like, you're right, it was red. Here's a little secret. I don't know how easy it is going to be for me to get back into the regular swing of things. Excuse me. I mentioned on part 1 here that I've been waiting for this, I saw my dad, my father, the man who made me, a couple days, and by a couple days I mean probably like a week and a half ago. He came out and we quarantined together, and the first thing he said, I walked out of my apartment to him and his girlfriend, and I was dancing and I was in a good mood, and I went to give them hugs, and they both were like, whoa, no, you don't touch people now. And the first thing my dad said to me is like, this is what you always wanted. And I was like, yeah, I guess you're not wrong. This is kind of what I always hoped. This is the third take on this sentence because I keep dropping things on the table that the mic is set up to. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. This is kind of what I always wanted. I wanted a change. I wanted a disruption. I wanted some time to reset. And not just for myself. I don't think like a little vacation here or this there would help, because that whole time, since I've started I used to love going camping. Camping is my therapy, it's my meditation, it's my everything. I never went on vacations. We went to California once when I was 11 with my 2 aunts, or aunts, as it's spelt phonetically, or spelt and then phonetically maybe pronounced. But that was pretty cool. I was like, wow, I'm going to fucking Disneyland. I'm going. Not back, but to Cali. And it was super cool. I never thought I would do something like that. I never expected it, never dreamed it. And what happened was something. I was 11, and basically my aunts ditched us in Cali, and we were stranded and had no money because they had a friend and there was an inside deal and they were paying for this. And we woke up in our hotel and it was like, hey, they've already checked out. You now have to survive in California for the next few days. And I have fleeting memories, but basically, like, some bullshit happened and we had no money. And I don't even know. I probably don't know exactly the extents that my mom had to go through at that time to just find us housing. But I remember, yeah, fuck. I remember us going to a hotel and my mom just like begging and pleading with somebody that worked there for a room for the night. And I think they disappeared, and I don't know what happened. But it was not a good vacation. Like, we spent the last few days like with $0 just trying to survive. And then finally we made it to our flight back, and my two aunts were on there, and I don't think, like, my mom and them have barely talked in the fucking decade and a half since. And I don't know what really went on there. So vacations don't do it for me because I have not had very many and they have not turned out great. But camping, always go camping once or twice a year. I'm playing this game where if I lose my train of thought, I take a sip. And I have not been keeping my train of thought very well. So camping's great. And I used to go camping all the time and blah, 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 boppity boopity. It was just the greatest. I was such bliss, so happy, so in my element, from a young boy up into a young man. And then anxiety hit me and life, and I got bogged down. And over the past couple of years, camping has been one of the more stressful things I could do. And I remember when I first got a vehicle, it was like, I'm going camping every couple of weeks. And I was going and it was great and I was just having a great time and everything was good. And then the next year I ran into some financial troubles and going camping was anxiety inducing. I couldn't relax. I'd get out there and I'd be there and I'd be sitting there and be like, I should be at work right now. I'm not making money. Oh, fuck. I still have to pay this. I gotta get home and I gotta do this. And that's what camping turned into. Or that's what camping has turned into the past little bit. And now I have this weird, irrational fear of going camping because I think that I will just have anxiety of missing out on things and not getting things done. And where we are right now is none of us are getting things done because we're all quarantined. And there's something that I find soothing in that. It's like a little scalp massage. Gonna be starting a product line for the podcast. First thing out will be big, not like oversized, but definitely big mugs that just say, because everybody needs a big mug for their coffee, tea, or other beverage, alcoholic, or like a large glass of moo. Large glass of moo to end a day. So, stocking stuffers this year. Get a mug. Fuck. You know, sometimes I just adjusted. Hello, can you hear me? I just adjusted the fourth time say that. I just adjusted the microphone and splash guard. The snake. The spit stopper. The subwoofer. It really looks like, what is it? War of the Worlds? Those snakes come through? Those technological alien snakes on fucking I'm trying to remember what this thing's called. It stops the P's and the S's and the plosives of your speech so that they're not so harsh. Oh, man. It's like a something guard or a something screen. Oh, man. I don't know if I'm going to use either of these fucking episodes at this point, to be honest. I thought it was going to be funny. I thought it was all fun and games. And then I realized I didn't realize anything. I'm here right now. Like, this is really dealing with life. This is it. We're in the thick of it. I thought I had around fucking an hour ago, just before I started. The thought that made me go, I should sit down and record a podcast, was I realized that sometimes I'm out there just living my life and I get really worried that somebody is going to ask me to define for them a basic word like the. I don't know the fucking definition of the. Where would I even start? The. Like, if I'm just like, oh, blah, 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 the fucking headdress sits on the chief's head. And they're going to be like, I understand most of that, but what does the word the mean? I'm going to be like, the states fucking the object or the point that we're talking about. You know? I wouldn't even know where to I don't even know. And then that's just like the three big guys, you know, adjectives and verbs and nouns. I think there's only three big guys, right? They run the world. Who run the world? Adjective, verbs, and nouns. Who run the world? Adjective, verbs, and nouns. Nouns are people, places, and things. Methinks. But the other two, fuck if I know. One's an action. I'm pretty sure adjectives are action words, like jumping, yelling. Verbs or verbiage is just the rest of it to me, I think. Pop shield. That's what I'm It's a pop shield. The snake with the fucking thing. It's called a pop shield. I'm just trying to say I'm not confident enough in my vocabulary moment to moment for somebody to ask me to define anything. And I think that's fair. I think that's allowed. Speaking of things that are allowed or are not allowed, I want to know who in the hell uses AZ lyrics and not Genius or any other lyric website not named Genius. Y'all out there wildin' if you're not using Genius. Like, I understand, like, I've been using Genius for a hot minute or three, and I think it was called Rap Genius at the start when they first were doing their thing. And I mean, those lyrics I was looking at was rap music, and so it made sense at that point. But they've got everything now. They've got country. They've got everything. I was gonna go on that, but I just thought of this thought. I just thought of a thought that I've been thinking, and I thought that you might want to think it as well. This is a good one. It's worth the wait. Hold on. Okay. So, yeah, if you don't use Genius, you're a freaking weirdo, probably. But I've had this idea, and I've been thinking about it every few days, and I haven't yet been able to test it out and see if it works in practice, but I have gone through it a little bit in my head, and I think that it works. And I've got many different friends from all shapes and circles and orientations. And with different people, you get different musical preferences. I'm somebody who I would like to think has a very eclectic musical taste, a very all over the place musical taste. You know, rap is my go-to genre, maybe. And that might not even be the case anymore. It definitely was growing up, and rap will never lose me. There were no artists that an album will get me more excited for than a new rap album. Like, that's something I need to sit down. I need to listen to front to back for the first listen, in the dark, headphones on, candles lit, maybe a puff off a joint, and just sit there and enjoy that album, because it's a piece of work. It's a piece of art. Other genres don't quite have me there yet. Even a new Ben Howard album, a new The National album, I'll sit down and I'll listen to them front to back to start damn. But rap still has that place for me. So rap's there, number one. Then after that, it goes to maybe an indie folk of sorts, an alternative indie folk, indie rock type genre. And then, you know, when the time is right, country is high up there. Because country is good feels, country is sun shining, country is works done, country is beer in hand, relaxing in the river. It's a good time. However, I understand that most people don't mix and mingle their genres too much. And when you don't listen to country and rap and you only have one of them, the other one seems so distant. But I think that country and rap are the two closest related genres of music that are out there right now. And you might be thinking, but how? Oh, but why? They seem so different. I think that you could take every country beat and just change its tone. Change, make it trap drums, make it snares, keep the beat the exact same, just change the sounds. Keep 90% of the lyrics the same. Change every country lyric that mentions beer to Henny. every country lyric that mentions truck to Rari. Every country lyric that mentions country girl to hoe ass bitch. And change every country lyric that mentions old dirt road to ass kicking lane or 8 Mile. And I think you've got yourself a pretty good rap song. And vice versa. You take every rap song and you change every N-word to just brother, said by a white dude. And you change every knife and or violent weapon to guitar. And you change every hater to a boss. And I think really they're just saying the same stuff. Just one's very white and one's very black. I think it works. I think it makes sense. I will take some songs. I'm gonna write a song. I'm gonna write a song and I'm gonna record it as both. And it'll just have like, it'll be like how long are songs usually? 500 maybe. Like 1,000 words maybe? Does that sound right for a song? And I'll only change like, the two songs will have the same words and I'll only change like 50 of them. And it'll be one of the greatest country songs ever and one of the greatest rap songs ever. So just use Rap Genius, or just use Genius instead of other websites, because Genius has it all. I've gotten away. I've tried to. I think that a successful podcast or a replayable podcast needs to have a theme or needs to have a recurring segment. Needs to have something that it's like, oh, yeah, I want to hear what was blah for that episode. For me, you know, there's like 7 podcasts as I listen to. And some of them, let's say Joe Rogan, wonderful podcasts, great conversations. But there's a new episode comes out and I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen in that time. And so I need to be sure that I'm ready to commit to that guest. Because there's no real format. It's just a conversation. I have nothing to look forward to. And that's the same with most of my podcasts, except for the Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant, Carl Pilkington radio show, XFM show from back in the day. Because it was a radio show. And so, you know, with radio shows, you usually have little gimmicks and little games and this and that you're playing. And the Ricky Gervais podcast had lots of those. And I think that that's why I've been trying to incorporate something like that. Like I've mentioned things I don't know. I think that'll be a segment. And then I've only done it like once or twice. But I do think that I want segments. I want things where people can be like, oh, what was the thing he didn't know this time? And I tried that with riddles. I tried that with a couple things. And the only thing that stuck has been the recommendations. That being said, I didn't do a recommendation in the last the first quarantine part 1. And I didn't really do one in the previous episode 11. And that makes me sad. However, I think every episode I do tell you, boppity boopity, you should watch RuPaul, because I have been watching RuPaul even when my girlfriend's not around. And that's a hard thing for me to be like, yeah, I watch RuPaul's Drag Race because it's a lot of fun and I like it. Great show. Recommendation. What I was getting to is I'm trying to have segments and I'm going to recommend something because I haven't done that. And the recommendation for this episode is definitely after that going to be RuPaul's Drag Race. It's wonderful. It's everything. I mean, what more do you want? You got it all. It's it's pretty good. I've got so many one-liners that I've written down that I don't want to waste. I've got this one here. I feel like I'm on the 4th. Oh fuck. My cat's outside meowing. I've got a I've got a patio and a sliding door, obviously, and it's attached to my living room. And if you go down the patio attaches to the bedroom. And the bedroom window is above or attached to, whatever you want to call it. It sits like 4 feet above the patio floor. So, the bedroom window always stays open. I think I'm gonna puke. Bedroom window always stays open. Sliding door, patio door is a variable. The cat jumps out the bedroom window, and then she cries at the patio door because she can't get in. And you go puke. Oh my god. I'm gonna die. Hold on.
You can have it all if you learn what all is. You can make your dreams come true. You can find bliss. Just remember it adds, and remember it will flow back to you.
I just want to thank all of you Patreon supporters for contributing to the podcast and sharing with me your enthusiasm and thoughts for it. It really does keep me going. Keeps me going every month and a half or whatever the fuck I take. Make sure in these days of compromised cleanliness or heightened attention to cleanliness, wash your fucking utensil handles and your cup outsides and your plate bottoms and your bowl rims, especially if you're a cereal eater. If you're gonna do anything, do it 100%. Yeah, just fucking, why half-ass anything? You're gonna feel worse. And that's my problem with this fucking podcast right now is I'm here and I love this and I'm enjoying it and I want to be there for y'all and I want y'all to be there for me. And it's like, then I need to give 100% of myself to this. Or maybe not. I need to go for it. All those times I'm like, I should. That's when you do it. You don't have to do it 100% of the time or give anything 100% of your time. But whenever you feel like you could be doing it or would be a good time to be doing something, do it. That's what separates the doers from the don'ters. And don't be a don'ter. Don't be a don'ter, my friends. Be a doer. Oh man. Still here, still selling fake doors. Do you think you would know if you were kidnapped and put into medically induced coma where you then live in a virtual world? Or a Matrix type situation? Do you think you would know if the world you were in wasn't real or if it changed? I don't think you would. However, I think there would be clues. And I think over time you'd start to pick up on them. And hell, maybe that's when you die. Maybe it's at the end. Maybe when you finally pick up on them all, it's like, all right, well, that's you can upgrade now. You can go back to wherever. Rearrange your house during this time. I think I told you to draw and play instruments and stuff. Rearrange your house. Oh man, I've been having these ideas on perspective, and I think that will be the first podcast when we come out of this whole thing. It'll be probably be titled Perspective, because I've been having some really good thoughts and really good experiences maybe where perspective was a thing. And I'm excited to maybe share those, get into those moments a little bit more. But not at this time. But a little tease there for you. That's coming down the chute at some point. I can't remember how much I'd got into the idea for the I don't remember how much detail I went into with the idea for the shorter sub-series of podcasts alongside, but I do have a couple ideas for those episodes, so those will be coming down the pipe at some point, and I do hope that somebody emails, because I think everybody needs a little encouragement in life. Even heroes like me. I legitimately threw up, by the way, when I had to run away. I threw up on the floor. I didn't even make it. I made it to the washroom and then just a little splash zone on the floor. It was crazy. So, don't ever think you're better than me. Don't ever think you're less than me. Don't ever think you're lesser than me. I mean, don't ever think you're better than me, because you're not. Recommendation for this episode was something, right? That was a segment I wanted to mention and do. I don't know if I recommended anything. Oh, clean your cups, maybe? Clean the bottom of your plates? Moisturize the bottom of your feet. Probably is a good one for everybody. I think if everybody moisturized the bottom of their feet before bed every night, boy, that'd be something. Tell somebody you love them. Whether it's your dad or your fad or your bad boy boyfriend or bad girl girlfriend or mad boss. Just tell people you love them because you should. There's no reason not to love people. Even if you don't like them, you can love them for being a human. I should go to bed. I want to thank all of you for indulging in this content. And I'll leave you on this note. You only ever wake up once. Good morning.
You can have it all if you learn what all is. You can make your dreams come true. You can.
That's pretty good, right? Oh my God.